up. Yep.
I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching the Tasty Pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Hey, this is the Game Triple H from the WWE. You're watching RXMuscle.com, the truth in bodybuilding.
RX Television on RXMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, better known as hashtag Ask Dave, your 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. Whatever's on your mind, bodybuilding topics, non-bodybuilding topics, diet, training, supplementation, it is all on the table. So we now bring in Dave Palumbo. Dave, we have a mega blowout sale for ISOLYZE right now at speciesnutrition.com. We just cooked this up a few minutes ago. Thought we'd bring it out to the Ask Dave audience first, but it is a blowout sale, limited edition, limited time sale on ISOLYZE.
Yes, we have a limited number, too, of units we're going to be selling. They're short dated, meaning that they're going to be expiring at the end of September, which the product will still be good to use, but we can't sell it after that time. So we're giving you guys an amazing opportunity, okay, to pick up some ISOLYZE at a really low price. I know a lot of people love the product, but maybe they can't afford it on a regular basis. This will give you the ability to stock up on this stuff and have a lot of it. All right, I have it written down because there's a couple different flavors. We have ISOLYZE Chocolate Peanut Butter, which is one of my favorites, in 22 servings. We have a bunch of those, and they're going to be sold for $21.99. That's almost like 60% off the retail. That's crazy. We also have vanilla ISOLYZE. We don't have that many units. These will probably sell like that because the vanilla people like myself will probably one person will buy all of them. That's $21.99 also. So that's 22 servings, $21.99. That's pretty much our cost on it. So knock yourselves out on those. And then if you want to go for the ISOLYZE Vanilla Peanut Butter, which is, I created that flavor. That's my absolute favorite. We have the 44 serving one. This is the double size of the 22. It's 3.1 pounds. And that's $39.99. And that's, once again, that's cost pretty much on that. And that's even cheaper than the 22 serving. So less than $40 for 3.1 pounds of ISOLYZE. Unheard of sale. But once again, while supplies last, you can't apply any of your coupon codes to these 3 items, but you can apply it to the other stuff on the site. So act now. Look, it's a Labor Day sale, but we're kind of putting it up early here on Wednesday for our Ask Dave audience. Problem is, once the stuff is sold, don't start emailing us and saying, I wanted to buy it and it's not here anymore. I watched the show late. I'm sorry. It's for our loyal viewers who watch the show. The second it goes up, they have first dibs on this. So there it is.
We'll have the full description of the sale, all the flavors, all the sizes, as well as the link in the article description below. But again, it is a limited time and limited edition sale. So act fast. Short dated ISOLYZE, marked down drastically in both sizes.
Plus, also I want to just mention $100 or more you order, you get free shipping, which that's where we really lose the money because protein really weighs a lot. But that's what we offer. Free shipping on orders over $100.
Let's go to the questions. The first 2 questions, of course, from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. First question, I guess he must have had to gone a few years back to dig this one out, but your thoughts on Rich Piana saying that in order to gain mass, there's no such thing as overtraining and that you should be training 4+ hours a day. He also claims this is what Arnold used to do.
Well, I just want to mention also the free shipping, by the way, is within the continental United States. So Canadian people, please don't think you're going to get free shipping. It's a lot more expensive, obviously. All right, getting back to the Rich Piana question. Arnold did train 4 hours a day. Doesn't mean it was the right thing to do. They also had no jobs. They would go to the beach. They would lay around. They would do a body part. That's just the way they trained back then. But they weren't that big back then. You know, a lot of guys did overtrain, and I do believe in overtraining. And absolutely, you can overtrain. And you know when you're overtrained because you don't even feel like going to the gym. You feel tired all the time. It doesn't matter how much you eat. You just feel like crap. And you know what? That phenomenon occurs for a reason. It's not that you're overtraining the muscles. You're overtraining the nervous system, because the nerves innervate the muscles and the brain communicates to the muscles what to do, right? But if that nervous system has exhausted its supply of neurotransmitters, which transmit the signal along the nerve, then guess what happens? The nerves can't fire properly. They can't tell the muscles to contract, and that's what overtraining is. It's actually the same thing that occurs when you run out of neurotransmitters in the brain, except that we call clinical depression. Because now the nerve cells can't talk to each other properly, and you get depressed because they can't communicate properly. It's the same phenomenon, an exhaustion of neurotransmitters. Remember, the nervous system is not like a wire like you connect your light bulb to that you plug into the socket. It's a bunch of neurons that are connected by spaces, and the spaces are gapped, it's also called the synapse, by these neurotransmitters that jump across the gap, and they communicate, and they allow the nerve to communicate to all the little neurons all the way down the line until they get to the muscle. So when you overtrain, you train too much, you use up these neurotransmitters, and then you can get into this state of overtraining. So it doesn't matter how much you eat. It doesn't matter how much you sleep at that point, although sleeping is the best way to rejuvenate and recover these neurotransmitters. Everyone's body is different. So in other words, one guy can train for 4 hours and maybe was able to recover, and then another guy can train for 2 hours or an hour and a half and be completely wiped out, because everyone's neurotransmitter production is different in their body. And everyone's level of sleep is different. Everyone's body recovers at a different rate. So there absolutely is something called overtraining. And I promise you, if you train every single day, 7 days a week for 2 months straight, you'll be overtrained. You'll not want to go to the gym. I can promise you that. Very, very infrequently do you hear about a person who never takes a day off and looks amazing. Usually it goes the other direction. And that's, once again, it's not a muscle thing. You're right. The muscles do not fatigue. They'll do whatever they're told to do. It's the nervous system.
Second question, again, from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. I would like to know your personal approach off season when you ate a ton of food and carbs to pre-contest. Did you do it little by little or quickly?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he means. If I did it, did I build up to that much food? Yes. Yeah, I didn't just go from like eating, nothing to eating 12 times a day. As I got bigger, I had to add more and more food because I wasn't growing anymore. And so, and then I had to start figuring out ways to get food in at night, because there was no more time during the day to eat anymore. It was every 90 minutes I was eating or drinking a shake. So I said, I'll just wake up during the night and I'll drink a shake and go back to bed. And so I started doing that too. But yeah, I had to build up to that. I don't think my stomach would have been able to handle that capacity, even if my appetite was there, just because you have to kind of stretch your stomach out. It's like these professional eaters. They drink like a gallon or two, sometimes 3 gallons of water in the morning just to stretch their stomach out so they can hold the capacity of food when they do these eating contests. Their stomachs are stretched out. Same thing with bodybuilder. When you diet and you're eating small quantities of food, even though you're eating frequently, your stomach shrinks up. And so that's why you can have a cheat meal and after one burger and a couple fries, you're like full. Whereas in an off season, you could eat 10 times that probably and not be full, because your stomach is more stretched out, because you're used to eating higher volume of food. And that's just normal. And that, once again, you have to build up to be able to handle that capacity of food intake. And I did as well. These questions are really good questions. And if you guys are interested in like really thought-provoking questions like this, the Dave Palumbo Experience app is tremendous, because everyone who belongs to the app is a very serious bodybuilder, or they're serious about their training and knowledge. And so one of the options that we offer on there is that you can ask as many questions of me as you want on the app, and I'll answer it in a public forum so everyone sees all the answers and all the questions. And then I do a Q&A video like we're doing here every single week for the app only members. So if you want more information and you like these thought-provoking questions, you should join the app. It's $29 a month. You have access to every article and every video I've ever done. Plus, we put up a workout every week. And it's a really, really good resource. We have workouts up there, and all my protocols are up there. So it's something that you might want to look into. You can download it from your iTunes store or the Android store.
Let's go to our Instagram questions. Again, the handle, if you're not already following us on Instagram, official_RX Muscle. If you're watching us for the first time here on YouTube, we ask that you subscribe below, hit the notification bell. You're not going to miss any of our shows, segments, or upcoming updates. If you like what you're watching, hit the like button, comment below, and as always, We appreciate all of your support throughout the course of the year. Let's go to Carlos Fit NYC. Not sure if you heard about this. There was a baseball player, maybe one of the best, if not the best baseball player, Fernando Tatis Jr. He was just suspended for 80 games. He was caught using Clostebol,
yes.
if I'm pronouncing it. Yeah. So he, in his defense, claimed that he was taking it for ringworm, which was universally laughed at. Claims he did not know it had Clostebol. He was taking a medication for ringworm and saying that he didn't know that it had Clostebol. Can the steroid actually make player performance better? I mean, especially baseball, where I guess you're talking about power, speed, and then 162 game season, so recovery.
Look, if you're in a sport that's drug testing, okay, you know that there's a possibility you're going to get caught. So you have to have an excuse figured out, right? So if you do get caught, so these guys pick these weird drugs that can be mimicked by other drugs that are out there that are common over-the-counter type things or prescription drugs that are prescribed by doctors, so that if they do get caught, they can say, "You see, I was taking this antifungal," and you can even see the guy's got a prescription for it. The levels that were in his blood were way higher than you would get, and the trace amounts that might show up because of a false positive from a antifungal that he was taking. Look, they don't suspend people for 80 games, okay, who are innocent, okay? They suspend people because they know the guy got caught. He's making an excuse to save face. I'm sure the league said, "Look, you're going to be suspended. Hopefully you come back." They don't want to lose these big time players because they're good for TV. They're good for making money. But they have to punish these guys when they get caught. They can't just sweep it under the table because someone will find out, and then they'll release it, and they'll say the superstars are getting preferential treatment. So everyone gets tested equally. And absolutely, anabolics help baseball. Come on, look at the Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds and all those guys. They were blasting home runs out of existence. What about the baseball players like Roger Clemens and these guys were throwing crazy fastballs and. Steroids work. They make you stronger. They make you faster. They give you better endurance, and your recovery is better. That's why people take them.
Well, let me ask you this, Dave, only because, when people talk about, Bonds and Sosa, the 90s where Brady Anderson comes out of nowhere, hits 50 home runs. And obviously we just look at that era as the steroid era. And we almost look as if today's era, as if the baseball players today, like, again, I don't want to cast aspersions, right? So I don't want to mention any specific names because there is one player right now in the Yankees that's, on a historic home, and everybody keeps referring to it as the clean record. Can we assume that players today, even, yes, they're being tested, that they're actually clean and that they're not just getting away with using something?
Do you think the Olympic athletes are clean? If the Olympic athletes were clean, wouldn't you think that the times in all the sprinting races would have gotten worse over the years because now people are clean. They're not using drugs anymore. So the times that they were getting back when everyone was using drugs should be better, but they're not. So no, people are just getting smarter about how they're using the drugs. And you know what the truth is? Drugs in sports where they're tested excessively, like cycling and baseball, and I don't even think baseball and football, they get tested that much, but they get tested. But the Olympics specifically, they get tested a lot around the year. It's random. They don't use that many drugs because they can't. They have to be very, very crafty about how they use it. So they're not as juiced up as people would like to believe, but they're definitely using enhancing drugs. These baseball players probably use them in the off season to build strength and muscle. And then that kind of carries them through the whole season, so they don't have to use it while they're actually, being probably tested more frequently. Some of them love the way they feel, and they try to get away with it, and some of them get away, and some get caught, and that's just the way it goes, Alex Rodriguez got caught. I mean, look, the best guys no one's going to, leave the door open and say, you know what, that guy is better than me now, even though I have better natural talent because he's taking juice and I'm not. They're going to find a way. They're going to ask some trainers. They're going to say, how can I get away with doing this and not get caught? And there are ways to do it. So no sport is clean. It's cleaner now that they're testing, but it's not clean. So to say that the Bonds era was, I guess because they weren't testing them, they felt like that's the steroid era, but guys still take drugs today.
Second question, again, from our Instagram page, official_RXmuscle. Is it normal for someone who's natural but trains 5 to 6 days a week to have mildly elevated liver enzymes?
Liver enzymes are the worst description to give to those ALT, AST, all those enzymes that they test, because they're not just found in the liver. They're found in their metabolic enzymes. They're found in all of the cells, especially the muscle cells. Any cell that's metabolically doing stuff, metabolizing fat, metabolizing carbohydrates for energy, have these enzymes present. So, and if you think about it, if you have a lot of muscle on your body, there's way more muscle cells than there are liver cells. So when you see these massively elevated liver enzymes in the blood, it can't be coming from the liver. Well, the person would be in liver failure and the liver wouldn't even be working. So that's not the case. What's happening is you go to the gym, you break down muscle tissue, the tissue falls apart, and then the contents of the cell goes into the bloodstream. Those are the enzymes that they're detecting. So if you're working out hard, 5-6 days a week, and you go and get blood, and those enzymes come back high, and you have a lot of muscle, it's a correlation. The more muscle you have, the higher the enzymes usually are. You never see a huge guy who has low enzyme levels. My enzymes were high when I was natural. They were high when I was a bodybuilder, taking steroids. And you know what? I don't train that hard right now. And even once in a while, they'll come back high, a little higher now. And because sometimes I might have a good workout in the gym, and even though I don't have as much muscle mass, I can still elevate those enzymes. But when I was actually not working out, when I had my shoulder replacements and I would go for blood work, they were always perfect. And I had never seen normal enzyme levels because I was always either an extreme runner or I was an extreme weightlifter my whole life, until it was that I actually took time off from the gym and then I saw it. And that's the correlation. I mean, that's same thing with CPK. Creatine phosphokinase enzyme is another enzyme found inside muscle cells that converts creatine into creatine phosphate, which happens in every cell in the body, including the brain cells and including the liver cells and including the heart cells, the cardiac cells. So, and a person who doesn't work out, if they think they're having a heart attack and they bring them to the hospital and they check their CPK levels and they have high levels, it suggests that their cardiac cells have broken down possibly from a heart attack and released some of these enzymes. But if you're a bodybuilder and you're 200 and something pounds and you go to the doctor and they measure your CPK, they love to do this at the emergency room. They check you come in there, you don't feel good. They check your CPK levels and they say rhabdomyolysis. What is rhabdomyolysis? Rhabdo means that the body is breaking down excessive amounts of protein for no apparent reason, and your body is in a state of like shock almost. But that could absolutely mimic a guy who goes to the gym and trains their legs really, really hard that day and gets totally nauseous like Sid did. His leg workout, right, Sid? And they feel terrible. They go to the hospital. They think they're having a heart attack, and they do the test on them, and then the CPK levels are through the roof. And they think, oh my God, he is having a heart attack. But really what it was is he had a hard workout in the gym. So it's unfortunate that in this day and age, these doctors don't know how to distinguish between an athlete who has high CPK or high liver enzymes and someone who doesn't work out. But there should be an absolute two different charts. One chart you give the person, do you work out or do any kind of high intensity exercise? No, you're in this chart. You're a bodybuilder? Oh, you're a swimmer? We put you in the athlete chart. And then so they have different ranges for people who are in different situations in life. That's how it should be. But yet it's still not. Now, there are a lot of doctors out there that do know, because they've seen so much blood work now, that, all right, this guy works out, don't worry about it. But there are other doctors that are completely naive to it, and they get the people worked up, and then I get an email from someone or a text saying, this doctor said I might be in liver failure, I got to go for a sonogram, should I be worried? I think I'm going to quit bodybuilding, and they are all nervous. I'm like, look, I can guarantee you're probably fine. So I said, go for the sonogram, it can't hurt. They go for the sonogram, the liver's fine, of course, and that's a very common occurrence. I probably answered this question 600 times, but it's okay, because there are always new people coming into the sport, and this comes up time and time and time again. These doctors get the people scared for no reason.
You hear a lot of these commercials now, especially, now it just seems to be, on every shelf of every pharmacy store, and that is these over-the-counter brain vitamins. Any merit to them? Do they actually work? Do they actually bring about the mental clarity, acuity that they, claim that they do?
Yeah, I don't know. That nootropics are in vogue now, and it's funny because I remember when I went to Spain back in, I think it was 91, we went to Spain to get steroids because they had just made them. That's when I first, or 92 I think it was, because they just had made them illegal in this country in 1990. And while there was a lot of these nootropics were something that people were just starting to talk about, and there were a lot of them that they were selling at pharmacies there. And we tried them all, and not a cup of coffee always worked better. I don't know, in terms of brain alertness and stuff like that. But there are some really good ones nowadays on the market that do give you a good feeling of well-being, a feeling of being alert. I think the formula we have for Stimulize from Species Nutrition works really well. If you mix a scoop of that and sip it over the course of like 30 to 50 minutes, you'll feel like you're almost on an antidepressant. You get a really good mood. It keeps you really highly focused. And we don't have a lot of caffeine in there. We have some caffeine, but it synergizes with a lot of these nootropics. The problem is that, they sell these things as though you're going to, negate forgetfulness and you're going to prevent dementia. And they try to like sell you by scaring you. If you don't take these, these terrible things are going to happen to you. So in that sense, most people who use them don't really ever get the results that they want. Plus, the stuff they sell in the pharmacies are usually very low dose. They don't even put the right amount in stuff because they want to just make maximum. They're just basically selling you on hype. They have the ingredients that you want in there, but they're not in effective dosages, because if they did that, they wouldn't make as much money. So you're way better off probably taking a bodybuilding company's, nootropic, as opposed to like some generic, stuff they sell at CVS pharmacy. Like I said, try Stimulize. I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised if you're looking for a little more mental sharpness and putting you in a better mood. I've been in a crappy mood because I found out my foot needs another surgery, and it's a mess, my foot. And so I said, I usually, sometimes I don't take the Stimulize every day because I like when I use it, it really works. And I was sipping a little today because I was in a kind of depressed mood. I woke up and I was like, I was in such a good mood. I couldn't stop talking. I was talking to everyone at the gym and like a chatterbox. I felt like it was, and because it put me in a really good mood. And like I said, if you use things, on in moderation, meaning that you don't do 3 of these servings a day, because after a while your body just won't respond to it anymore. You're going to feel really good on it. If you overdo it, just like anything, it stops working.
Let's go to Evan at large. Your advice on optimal pinning time, the muscle you are training, such as pinning quads day before, same day, or day after training. I try not to pin before or same day, but sometimes the rotation calls for it.
I don't, you know how I feel about injecting the quads. Just don't do it. It's a disaster waiting to happen. It's a bad infection waiting to happen. And you know what? It's funny because every time I talk about it, someone tells me, I've been shooting my legs for 20 years. You talk about it once and and the next day I had a bad shot and I went up in the hospital. It's just, it's a coin flip. It's a matter of time. Don't inject your quads at all. As far as injecting the body part that you inject, I used to sometimes put like a half cc in each upper pec before I would train chest because I think I felt it more. Injecting into a muscle is not making that muscle grow better. Okay, if that's what you're asking me. A lot of people site inject because they get a better pump in that area because it gets a little irritated and you feel the muscle a little bit more, maybe give you a better mind-muscle connection, but you're not really getting growth there. Now, if you're doing volumization, like where you're volumizing something like a site injection oil or something like that, or you're putting something to create a volumizing effect for the muscle to look cosmetically bigger, that's a different story. But as far as when to inject, it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. I used to do my shots at night because I was so lazy, I would procrastinate all day. But the bottom line is when I did them in the morning, I felt the best because I got them out of the way. And you don't want to take a shot before bed because then you get like a little bit of an adrenaline release and sometimes it's hard to sleep after. So my suggestion is try to do it early in the day.
How do you keep your strength and get a pump while on keto?
Strength is not a problem on keto. Matter of fact, I've talked to a lot of powerlifters that they say that when they're on a ketogenic diet, they actually, Ryan Cannell used to tell me that all the time, they're just as strong, maybe stronger, because they're not holding as much water sometimes, because a lot of these guys get bloated. It's the endurance aspect that you don't have, because if you're on a ketogenic diet, you're not taking in carbs, so you're not going to be able to last as long in the gym. But for powerlifters, like they don't really do a lot of reps, so they're doing like more 1-rep stuff. So it doesn't really affect strength. Like I said, you won't notice too much strength difference unless your body weight drops. If you're doing a ketogenic diet and you're losing weight, weight loss itself will reduce strength. I mean, let's face it. I mean, even if you're fatter and you're bigger, you're going to lift more because you just have more weight, more stability, more core. You just have a lot more mass. That's moving weight. But having said that, the ketogenic diet itself doesn't make you weaker, and I think that's something that people can't come to grips with. But you won't be able to lift as long. You're not going to be doing 1.5 hour, 2 hour workouts on a ketogenic diet. You're going to start crashing, because you're not going to have enough carbs. You will have some carbs, and there must be not going to have enough carbs. So depending, if you're a volume guy and you have to train high volume, and that's just the way it is, and you won't switch, you probably shouldn't do a totally ketogenic diet. You can do a low carb diet, but I wouldn't do a ketogenic diet.
Question about Fiberlyze in the morning. If you take Fiberlyze in the morning with a whey isolate shake and a black coffee, does Fiberlyze interfere with protein absorption? Also, will I be pooping my brains out when I hit the gyms 45 minutes later with that combination of Fiberlyze and coffee?
Yeah, the fiber doesn't bind up like protein and stuff like that. It could bind fats. So if you started putting like oils in it or something like that, or took essential fats, I probably wouldn't do that with fiber. Although it probably doesn't matter, but it's just probably a good idea not to mix fats and fiber because they kind of bind that up more so. But I know I have a lot of people who mix the Fiberlyze with the protein shake. It really makes it crazy thick. I don't really like it personally, but some people love it, and that's fine. And Fiberlyze is not a laxative, so you're not going to take it and have to poop 10 minutes later, unless you have to go, unless that's your time to go to the bathroom anyway. You know what I mean? So, like, I take it usually before bed, and I take it usually like midday sometime, and I invariably always go to the bathroom like clockwork in the morning when I wake up, usually after I drink a glass of water or something like that. I'm like right in the bathroom. So it usually has about a 6 to 8 hour, lag time of when it's going to make you go. But, if you find that you're taking it in the morning and then you have to go to the bathroom, it's, then take it after the gym. But for most people, that's not going to happen.
Take a couple of more questions. Scott and Christina, best healthy oil to cook in a pan such as steak. Don't like the taste of cooking my steaks in olive oil.
Yeah, olive oil's got a very bitter taste. Plus, you can't really cook with it anyway because it burns. It's got a very low smoke point. Species Nutrition macadamia nut oil is perfect for that. It's got a 420 degree smoke point. You can saute your steaks in there, no problem. And I've done it on video. We should probably re-list that video. It's my keto chicken cutlets I would make with the macadamia nut oil. I would coat them in egg whites or whole eggs, and then I would put the almond flour for breadcrumbs on there, and I would actually fry them in mac oil. I make my eggs in macadamia nut oil. I cook my salmon, saute that with macadamia nut oil. The great thing about macadamia nut oil is it tastes, I think it's way better than olive oil. It has a buttery taste. As a matter of fact, I put it on my kids' bagels and on their corn and in their rice. They swear this butter. I've asked them, I'm like, is this enough butter? They're like, oh, this is the best butter. This tastes better than butter. I would, they don't even know. And then I told them it's mac oil, and they don't care because it tastes that good. And it's really, really healthy because it's higher in monounsaturated fats than olive oil, which is what the heart healthy fats we want are. It's balanced in omega-3s and 6s, 1-to-1 ratio. It doesn't go bad if it's exposed to light, and it has, the best part of it is it tastes good. So you can't really do too much of it. So unless you're dieting, of course, don't get me wrong. So I would recommend, if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. Maybe if you're going to buy some ISOLYZE with the sale and you want to pump up your cart so you can get over $100 and get free shipping, add a bottle of macadamia nut oil. I'm telling you, you will never stop using it. It's probably the best cooking oil and best oil in general because I add it to my shakes. I literally will put tablespoons into my shakes so I don't have to use peanut butter, and I can actually mix it in a cup and just drink it down. It's so convenient in that sense.
Take one more question. We do have some others, so a couple of really good ones I'm going to send to Dave so he can make individual videos about them. So you and I spoke before you and Chris Aceto went live with Heavy Muscle Radio, and we were talking about, sort of how Big Ramy has been a lot more active lately on social media. And this is before even he linked up with Dennis James a couple of days ago. Seemed to be posting a lot more about his workouts, a lot, about basically taking the fans a little bit more inside of his regimen. And we were wondering, okay, all right, what's the message behind all this, right? And then the following day, which is Monday or Tuesday, he posted a couple of days ago. He posted actually him and Dennis James posted a couple of update pictures, and I mean he's looking to the point of where you start to have the debate as to whether or not he could be beat. at all this upcoming Olympia, and whether or not the form that he's in suggests that he has retirement on his mind any time over the next few years, given that's what was rumored earlier in the year. So after seeing those two update pictures, and we have them right now on our Instagram page, can you see anyone beating Big Ramy, given that we're about 16 weeks out and he looks like that?
Well, we said it before. Ramy really can't be beaten unless he beats himself. And I know it sounds like a cop-out answer, but it's really not. Ramy's that good. He's been that good since 2013. He loses sometimes because he just doesn't come in the best shape. Now, he's got a team now, the way he's established. Now, Chad Nichols knows what he's doing, but I'm sure there were other trainers that work with Ramy that knew what they were doing. But they got Dennis James, basically in Ramy's camp, making sure Ramy does his workouts, doesn't cheat on his diet. It's like a whole team effort. Look, everyone has their own little foibles. If Ramy loses focus, but yet he won't lose focus if he's with the right people, then you put him with the right people 12 weeks before the Olympia, like they're doing now. And Ramy stays focused. He wins the Olympia, and then he can go party and do whatever he wants after that. That's obviously what they found has worked in the past for the past 2 years, and they're going to do it again this year. He can't lose if he sticks to the diet and he gets in the best shape of his life. There's no one bigger than him. He's got good shape. Okay, he's got a couple little chinks in the armor now. He's getting a little older, but not enough where anyone's going to come in there and outsize him or there's no Flex Wheelers out there right now who's going to come in there and just dazzle the lineup with. Brandon's the closest thing we got, and Brandon's legs are just not quite as good as his upper body, although I love his physique. I think he flows well. He's the guy who will beat Ramy if Ramy is a little off, because he is structurally better than Ramy, but it's Ramy's show to lose, and I think that Ramy maybe gets that in his head now. He's like, look, I can win this as long as I concentrate and focus on my training and stick to my diet. I can't lose. Once he understands that in his head conceptually, he'd be crazy to stop. He should only stop if he hits a point where he's actually injured and can't be better than he was the year before. In other words, look, you know what? I can't train anymore the right way. I have a back problem, or my health is in jeopardy because I have this and that going on. That's a good reason to stop. For now, at the peak of his powers, he'd be crazy to stop. I think he could win another 3-4 years if he really wants to, before his body starts breaking down. But especially because he relaxes, after the show's over for a couple months. So that's up to him. It's got to come from Ramy's heart. He's got to have to want to do it. And if he does want to do it, no one beats him. The minute he says, I don't really want to do this anymore, and he doesn't give 100% to it, he'll get beaten. Because he has that ability. When he's not on 100%, people with better structure than him can sneak in there and beat him. So he's the only guy who will dictate if he wins or loses. And that's a great position to be in, because that means that if he wants to win, he's going to win. If he wants to lose, he'll lose. He's in the driver's seat. Great, great, great position to be in if you're a bodybuilder.
That's going to do for this episode of As a Reminder. Right now in the description below, ISOLYZE Blowout Sale right now at speciesnutrition.com. We have the full description of the flavors, which sizes, corresponding sizes they're on sale for. This only while supplies last. Is a limited quantity, limited edition sale. So once they're gone, they're absolutely gone. So it's a pre-Labor Day sale, if you want to call it that, but it is a complete blowout sale on ISOLYZE rather short-dated ISOLYZE flavors that we have available. Again, the full description and the link is below. No further coupons apply. $100 or more, and you get free shipping in the continental United States. For Tyler Shore and Dave Palumbo, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. We'll see you next time.